It's on.
So let's just questions, anything that's been mulled over in the past week. We had a lot happen last Wednesday, so go ahead.
I don't have too many questions, really. As I've been out of town, and today it's my first day back.
Sure.
So I guess I alluded to it in the email this morning, but one of the things that I was, maybe it's a question more of the right practices, but we went through the exercise last Wednesday of trying to update the kernel, and we found out that didn't work, and we had to do the rollback.
Yes.
How common is it for there to be those sorts of kernel updates or to see those kinds of errors?
Well, it's common to have problems with an update kernel. The one we saw wasn't so unique, was unique, and we need to look into that. We hit NVMe problems for some reason, which I did not see on an FS- server.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe 5% or something, but it's a constant issue of being able to, a complaint that I can't have both kernels. When I do an upgrade, the kernel also gets upgraded, which means the older version is removed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to go rescue mode and manually install the original kernel to match what we could boot from last time. Now that rescue mode was a good exercise for us, and you'll do it again.
Yep.
But in terms of how often, that's just a survival skill that we had to go through last Wednesday.
Right. All right.
Sometimes it's making it RD. Nothing ever works perfectly. It's not a perfect world. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So I guess the second question is it's probably the question we all want to understand, which is I'm trying to understand what makes an NVMe so different, and why would this be causing the sort of issues that we've been seeing for some time now?
By some time, you mean you and me, or
yes,
is there something else? Well, we've only seen it one day.
Okay.
Last Wednesday was the only time we had problems we saw on boot. One kernel that we booted, this appeared to be, we haven't gotten into it, but UDEV.
Mm-hmm.
UDEV rules, both times there were problems in that area, and we didn't have time to look at them.
Right.
But I wasn't expecting them. They didn't happen on the NFS- server. Don't know why. Don't know the difference yet. That's why we rolled back on our kernel, because it had worked before.
Mm-hmm.
NVMe being newer technology, and we're on SLES11 SP4, is not going to be the latest, greatest, heavy tested type of environment. There could be problems in that area. Not that I've seen any, but we just have to find out what the problem is.
Right.
So I had not seen those before, but these are different NVMe devices than we had on Marvin too. These are dedicated NVMe buses versus Marvin, where they were PCI buses.
Okay.
And there's subtle differences in connectors, and I don't know all the gender bender that might be going on between NVMe and PCI, but different form factors, or whatever you want to call it, different buses that they're plugging into. The new buses that these are plugging into are SATA multi-purpose type connectors versus a PCI connector. So we're going to find out the hard way, possibly.
Okay.
Generally, what somebody does is they try to get to the latest patch. But for us, when we went to the latest patch, we seen, sometimes a patch can break more than it fixes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's necessary to know how to roll back. Unfortunately, we weren't able to boot, so we had to go rescue mode to be able to do the rollback.
Okay. All right. I guess those are the only questions I have right now.
Sure. So basically, the agenda is to finish up with FCL-server and try to get it closer to production.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just start with logging into it.
Yep.
And we'll come back to XFS and all the XFS pages that I sent you over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm just bored. No.
Hold on. 54,
Four.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. And let's see. I remember the password for that.
We can practice breaking in too. But it's the same password on the BMC as well. You wrote it down, you said.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I'm in.
So one of the tweaks here again was the FCL server 1 name was a temporary stub, and we were going to call it forward 1, but then I thought anyway, there was a certificate made and things like that in the web server and stuff that is using this host name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that Yast has a host name change feature that can fix and change some of that stuff, but I don't know. And I'm not totally convinced we're going to keep this root right now either.
Okay.
So anyway, first of all, bring up top.
Yeah.
So last Tuesday, we basically did an initial install.
Mm-hmm.
And then last Wednesday, we did cleaning up that, did our first boot, and also added repositories and installed things like DMF and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We also did an update and then reboot, and that's where we are.
Right.
So the first thing I'm seeing that I briefly looked in, I only logged in once. Quit out of there, type in last. When did Thursday. I haven't signed in since Thursday. You familiar with last?
No.
That way I can see, again, they have to have gone through SSH. This would not indicate web connections or things like that. You have to have gone through the login command where it's prompting you for login and password.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's a handy command. So anyways, I hadn't logged in, but I logged in real briefly just to poke, and I saw that XVM stuff is running. Bring up top again.
Yep.
This is an SGI product.
Okay.
I suspect is out there looking for XVM IDs, but it's been running this stuff since we installed. And we don't even want XVM anyway. Now, I've never seen XVM ID spinning like this, but it's out there looking through drives and trying to find some XVM IDs, I suspect. Let's see, 2372. Break out of there. Do an strace-p 2372, 1P 2372.
2372.
Yep, just did it.
Right.
Break out of there. So it's been spinning, and what are we seeing here? Good. So it's off in sys devices right now going through stuff still. Can I tell if it's even scrolling deeper, or if it looks like it's stuck in NVMe?
Okay. All right. So but let me stop you right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So with strace in the past, you've told me about how you never want to read too deeply into it, but how can you tell that this is NVMe?
Yeah, so stop right there, and you can see it's going through this read, link, and stat repeatedly.
Uh-huh.
And you can read the path there as NVMe, NVMe 0. It's on the first NVMe device.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So what I was trying to say, it's like the picture of Lincoln. If you stare too close, you don't see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
You don't try to nitpick it apart. So there's a lot of, first of all, it was already running, so I just attached to see what it was doing system call wise.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, the name was XVM ID, so I figured it was going out to disks looking for XVM labels, just like LVM labels and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I could have attached to it with perf, but perf would tell me about the CPU. But I was more interested in the I/O, right? You know, because of the nature of the command. Let's do a perf on that thing.
Sure.
Hit it, enter. What was the PID again? Up arrow for me. Oh, we got the PID right there anyways. So perf dash, record. Perf record. No dash, sorry.
Oh.
Perf record. Space, dash P, space, and then at the end add a dash G. And this will keep track of the calling sequence and get a calling tree. Now, nope, you had it before. There's a space in there. There is a man page and a dash in there too. That would probably work, but this way I've always done it. Okay, so it's probably not installed. Do a zipper install perf. I got my gallon of Kool-Aid here too, so you might hear me slurping every now and then. Go ahead, yes?
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting into profiling, and we need to at this point. There are a lot of new profiling things, and we're not going to do it today, but we want to profile I/O and go into that file system layer thing with all the different stages out to the cache on the spindle and go through that stuff in the next couple of weeks. Now, perf, all it's doing is looking at the program counter. Okay, so every processor has a program counter that is a memory address of where it is executing instructions. And then it keeps sampling that program counter periodically and then tells you, maps that into some subroutine name, we hope, if there are symbol tables.
Right.
Okay, so if I just type perf top, go ahead, type in perf top. No, space again. So 17,000 times I saw OSQ lock. Okay, so that OSQ lock, then I got a raw spin lock, and then I got some other lock stuff, Intel idle, and then that mutex unlock slow path, lock. It's all locking stuff at the top, right?
Yep.
OSQ lock before. That's a new routine for me. So nobody knows everything. Subroutine names are always changing, but you can kind of get a general idea of what it is, right? Most of them you can tell. So we actually do have high system time probably from this OSQ lock that's going on. But again, all it's saying is every 2 seconds I sampled the delta. And every 2 seconds is telling me 129,000 times the program counter was an OSQ lock. Right?
Yep.
But that doesn't tell me how I got there. That doesn't give me the calling sequence.
Right.
Okay? So quit out of there now.
Yep.
That's just saying periodically, all these periodic samples, what do I see? So now let's do that perf record that we were going to do. Dash P. You had a, do an up arrow, didn't we save it? Or there we are. And then the dash G. So what I was trying to say is the dash G now will keep track of how I got there and is sampling the entire call stack, not just the program counter.
Okay.
And in the industry, they'll sometimes call it a butterfly report. Don't ask me why, really. But basically, it's a caller-callee type of report that gives me the calling sequence and how I got to things. Go ahead and break out of there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could have specified a particular interval. It's important that I look at the right interval. Now, if I was trying to narrow down some high system time, I might start it while I'm watching SAR and say system time's high and then stop it when the system time is low again. So I might narrow down my sample interval to something that is relevant to something else. Now, you won't be able to more it. So now perf report. Just type in perf report. 2 words again. So there's our OSQ lock, but notice there's a plus sign over on the left. and you expanded it, and it's actually not telling me a whole lot more. But yeah, so we're digging down into it. So we can now again see from the strace was saying get link and get stat.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can see the get link is calling get attributes. We're going into sys file system permission, and then we're doing a lookup, and we're going into a directory, and then we're spinning on the lock.
Yep.
So I now know the calling sequence of how I got there. Okay?
Yep.
And that's the CPU code and the system time in particular. Quit out of there again.
Sure.
So the G is what gave me that sequence. Now you're looking at a stack, and you're reading from the bottom up. Whenever you're looking at stacks, you read from the bottom up, the bottom being the most current, and then you're going back into history as you look up, to the top of the stack, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Type in top again.
Yep.
So our system time is 28%.
Mm-hmm.
And we just now confirmed all that 28% was system call is trying to go into the /sys file system that strace confirmed for us into NVMe devices and is having a problem.
Right.
I don't know if this is all connecting, but again, I just popped up top, saw something that was unusual, and then drilled into it to say, okay, what's XMI doing? So we looked at it with strace and we looked at it with perf. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Quit out of there. What was that PID again? 2372? Up arrow.
Yeah.
Up arrow again. What was
2372.
CD? Now, I want to go into /proc/ whatever that PID was. CD
Okay.
into, I just needed the PID. CD space /proc/ PID. No, back up. The PID is 2372. No PID letters in there.
Oh, I see.
That's just my way of saying put in the PID. Enter. And then do a cat on stack. This is where PS gets all of its data. Now we're looking at the sleep stack instead of the CPU time. This is the time when it's sleeping. Up arrow and put a watch and do a watch cat stack.
Mm-hmm.
Watch cat stack. Space. So perf is telling me what it's doing while it's running. This is telling me what it went to sleep on. Two different stack traces. You again read them from the bottom.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And every time we make a system call, if you notice on the bottom of it, it's the system call. And now it's doing a stat, and this is exactly correlating. If we had strace running, you'd exactly see the same things going on with perf, strace, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sitting there spinning on these NVMe devices still.
Right.
So what are we doing? And they're all at the bottom. We've got a system call, and then it makes a close. Now it's doing a stat system call, still a stat. Now it's doing a read link.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of signal processing, read link, change directory, signal handling, and the whole sequence of routines going up to the top. Okay?
Yep.
So a process is either running or sleeping.
Okay. This does give me a new question on my part here. So I understand the nature of a call stack. I've seen that many times, especially as a C programmer. But I'm kind of unfamiliar.
If you don't do any branches, you don't have a stack. But every time you jump from one subroutine to another, a stack is managed. Go ahead.
Right. So I'm trying to understand by comparison what the sleep stack is.
So that's the kernel keeping track of where this program is when it went to sleep, how to get back to where it came from. You're used to GDB and looking at the process stack and the user stack.
Yep.
This is the kernel.
Oh, I see. Okay. No, now it makes sense.
Sure. So every one of these will be kernel subroutines.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a process is either running, which means the program counter has something for that process, and we can map that to an address and a subroutine name, or it's sleeping. And when it went to sleep, the kernel stack can tell me all the things that happened before it went to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anyway, any questions? I wanted to look at that situation quickly, but again, we still have a NVMe problem, which last Thursday when I looked, I did not even consider. I was just curious as to what's going on. I now have a signature, and whenever there's a problem, I like to kind of figure out, well, what category, and am I going to see this again, and how many times am I going to see it, and, is it related to something else, those sorts of correlations. Okay?
All right.
So let's get out of there. First of all, let's do some cleanup here. We're moving on now. I basically did a quick sanity check from where we left off, and we got XVM running. Okay? So I want to now turn off services and clean up things that we don't need.
Okay. So
there's a check config, chk-con config command. That's all. Just hit enter.
Okay.
And we might actually have a second window open, but let's see. Firewall off. Again, I don't know all of these things. I'd have to look them up. Yeah, open up a second window. That way it's easier.
Sure.
So the first thing after you install, you kind of want to clean up your services and make sure everything is what you want. So first of all, check config off. No, I'm sorry, I think it's service name. Check config ALSA sound. We don't need, there's no sound here, so let's turn it off. Let's see, the ATD daemon, turn that on. Check config ATD on. That's the at command. Don't worry about that warning. It's just complaining. So okay. I'd actually on another system tried to use at over the weekend, but at daemon wasn't running. So it says, like I didn't want to get up at 12:10 in the morning, so I said at 12:10 in the morning, run the script, right? So that's the at command. Let's see, audit D we'll leave on. I'm just going down the list. I don't need to turn on things that I don't need. I want cron. You need dbus. Don't know a whole lot about dbus, but it has to do with authentication and stuff. Let's turn DMF man off for now.
All right.
Check config DMF man off.
Hold on. DMF man.
Yeah. We'll turn these things on when we're ready, but right now I'm just cleaning up. We're going to need to get a license still for DMF. And same thing with DMF SOAP. Turn off DMF SOAP.
Okay. What's DMF SOAP?
I don't even know. It's part of DMF. I think it has to do with parallel CXFS cluster file systems. But off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just going down the list. By the way, HAL daemon is a hardware event layer. We leave that on. I don't remember what GED is off the top of my head, but we'll leave that on. IRQ balancer to distribute interrupts. KDB says it's on, but wasn't working for me, but I'm going to ignore that. We'll talk about KDB when we care.
All right.
I do want KVM working on this, so that's on. On the left, page down. By the way, LK there is an SGI licensing daemon.
Okay.
I don't remember LKD. MCE log is for machine check errors, for hardware errors. Now UVs, SGI turns that off on UVs. They have their own interface, but we want that on this one. We don't have any MD that I remember. I did do MDs when I was testing a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Memlog. Turn Memlog off.
Sure.
In fact, that's what replaces MCE log, but I don't want to run it on a non-UV. You get my point? And this is a problem on UVs. It's either MCE log or Memlog. So Memlog is the SGI product to do it. But that's only for UVs. So I just don't want to run it right now and see what happens, you know?
Right.
I don't really care about NetStat. NFS is on. Good. NFS server is on. That's the main purpose of this system. NMB, isn't that Samba, I think? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. By the way, on the right, CD into ITSI init.d.
Mm-hmm.
Do an RPMQF, space NMB, N. There you go. So it is Samba. See what I just did?
Yep.
There was something on the left in check config. I didn't know what it was. I went to the init directory and figured out what package that was from.
I see.
Right? So even in top, you see something in top, you do a PSL to get the path, then use RPMQF on that path to find out what package. Once you got a package, you're at least into documentation and no more. Okay?
Good.
Let's see. There's the name service cache daemon. We're not going to focus on that here, but NSCD is typically on. So this caches NIS and stuff like that, and it has an order to say by file, by NIS, that sort of thing. We're not going to focus on that now, but that's a network service cache daemon. Network time protocol we need. OpenVault, let's turn that off.
Okay.
Check config. And rather than deinstall some of this stuff, I'm just turning it off.
Right.
So OpenVault was part of DMF, and it got picked up by default. And right now, Tom doesn't want to learn OpenVault, and that was the only reason to have it. So we're not going to use it. We're just going to use disk MSPs instead. But I'm still going to leave it installed. It could be turned on and played with still, you know?
Sure.
So I didn't want to deinstall it. So I'm just thinking aloud here. No idea what Open WS Wide Area Network or something, WSMAN D is. Stuff's always changing. PCP and PCP storage we're going to get to next week when we get into instrumentation. Now, PCP storage is unique to SGI. It's not part of the PCP stuff. It came with this DMF product, and it's keeping data and kind of twisted PCP to keep data in a different location and stuff. So we're going to get back into the difference between the two later.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do we got on PMCD? These are all PCP again. PMCD, PMI. PMCD is the collector daemon. PMCD is the one that's reading /proc to get the data, just like SAR and other top and stuff do. PMIE, I love this one. I'll get back to this later. PMIE, Performance Metric Inference Engine. Really, I would have named it PM Alarm. Because it sets off alarm based upon a algorithm. But they wanted to be fancy and prove they went to college or something. Anyway, just PMIE, think of that as an alarm.
Okay.
And we're going to set that up in the instrumentation labs. So if system time goes up 50%, if a file system starts filling up, send me email. It will even project and say, at this rate of file system growth, if it's going to fill up in 20 minutes, send me an alarm now so I can respond before it hits full. Things like that. And again, this is all open source. Came from SGI, but they went, and it was always open source, but they went independent on their own during one of the layoff rounds. Oh, I'm sorry, workforce reduction rounds. Let's see. What else did we have? Postfix I don't care about. We could turn off. That's for mail and stuff. I'm going to leave it on in case we're mailing out from the system. Postgres will get turned on at some point. It's going to be used by different things. What was it being used by recently? Well, I know PBS is using it. Anyway, so it get turned on as needed. PowerD, don't really know. Puppet, Puppet is ugly, but it's a configuration conformance thing. It builds your configuration and runs periodically to make sure it's in compliance.
Mm-hmm.
US Postal runs Puppet. So if you install an RPM, Puppet will come along and say, that RPM isn't supposed to be there, and we'll remove it. Things like that. Check permissions. You set up your own Puppet rules. If you ever get interested, and I see no reason for you to be interested, but I got Puppet manifest examples that are an example of for the GPUDB product. Let's move on. Random we need on. I really don't care about offs. Okay, now SGI LTFS. What is that one? I don't know what that one is. Go to the right.
Yep.
-QF on SGI-LTFS, some sort of file system, but so do an RPM QI on that one. QI on that name. LTFS file system, tape libraries. We don't need that.
All right.
See, if nobody knows everything, you got to dig into it. So let's turn that one off. Sometimes the acronym makes sense, and sometimes you go, I don't know what that is. I think we were going to leave Port Manager on. That is part of NFS.
All right.
And we're running SGI's NFS. In the past, I did not. This is a new release, but I hadn't seen Port Manager there before. By the way, there's this other thing here, SGI OV and stuff. They have XINET-D.
Uh-huh.
Some people will pronounce that XINET-D.
Uh-huh.
So that is basically, there is a daemon up and running, and some sites will turn that off. That is sitting there listening for things like FTP. And then we'll fire off the appropriate service when somebody attaches to that port. Go into ITSI XINET-D.D. There's a directory. CD into ITSI INET-D. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? I lost my train of thought here. We were going to, what were we? Oh, XINET-D. XINET-D tab. Oops. Net. E. XINE. Yeah. Back up. There you. Yep. Tab. There you go. Enter. LS. So that's the type of services that can come in. Now, SSH, for example, always has a daemon up and running. Do PS-E and grep for SSHD.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, just PS. No, stay where you are. Just do a PS-E
Mm-hmm.
and grep for SSHD. So that thing is always up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Now grep for XINET-D. Yep, there you go. Oh, one more back. Yep, and it used to be INET-D. Oops, INET for internet.
Mm-hmm.
X is for extended or whatever. XINET-D. XINET-D. There you go. So that daemon is sitting there listening, and then do an LS again.
Mm-hmm.
These things will then fire up the appropriate daemon for that type of service.
Okay.
On TFT. On VNC, let's do more on VNC.
All right.
Just do a more VNC there. So this says where's the daemon you're going to fire up and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's XINET-D. When something on check config on the left says XINET-D, that says if XINET-D is installed and running, that service will be listing on XINET-D to start.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? So let's go back to the left. So for now, I don't mind those being XINetD. Some sites for security reasons don't use XINetD. FTP and stuff comes in on it. If we installed FTP servers, the FTP daemon instead of SFTP, we would have seen an additional files in that XINetD directory. Did I lose you?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. So I was just responding to those XINetDs that we were seeing. Let's scroll on down on the left. And that's good. So let's see. Trivial FTP we leave off. By the way, notice there's a syslog and a syststat. You see that on the left?
Yes.
But there's not a syststat. There's not one with two S's. So on the right window.
Mm-hmm.
No, zipper. Sys, S-Y-S-S-T-A-T. S-Y-S-S-T-A-T. Two S's. Don't confuse that with the one S. Space. Oh, we were going to install that. Zipper install. No, installs before.
Oh, yeah.
It's my mistake. This is SAR. IOStat, VMstat. This is the original. Oh, let's see. What's it complaining? It's already installed. Oh, I know why. My mistake. Let's go back to the left. I'll explain what I missed in a second here. Let's see. So I'm just going through these. Samba's off. That's fine.
Let me get TFTP off. Or it is off. Sorry.
That's fine. Let's see. So that Vivaldi Framework D, that's the Mega RAID Storage Manager service. That's the one that the GUI is talking to. So that one has to be on. You see that one?
Yeah.
Vivaldi Framework D. That's the Mega RAID Storage Manager server that the GUI connects to.
Mm-hmm.
XDM's our window manager. XFS off. Okay, so I hadn't been on SLES11 for a while. Now we need to do a check on the left, a check config.
Mm-hmm.
Break out of and do a -A, I think. Control C or something. Exit. There you go. -A. There's a boot group.
Okay.
Hit enter. Big A. Try big A. There we are. Unfortunately, Red Hat and SLES are a little bit different in there. Up arrow again. Do an up arrow and up arrow and grep for boot. I just want the boot group. So pipe grep boot. There you go. So this is unique to SLES11.
Okay.
These things start real early in the process. So I'm just going through that list. It's got Fuse on. I don't like Fuse user file systems, but we'll leave it on. I'm just kind of going through the list, LVM. The last one is the only one I want to turn off now. Check config boot.xvm.
Okay.
Boot.xvm off.
Up, off.
Okay. Now, personally, I like XVM. I like it a lot better than LVM multipath, but we're not going to run it. It is a product.
Okay.
At some point, I might want to put it up because it has advantages, but right now I'm just leaving it out of the picture. Okay, that kind of, the other one then now on the left, 4 from the bottom was the syststat. That's why we jumped here. So check config boot.syststat on. Oh, before you do that, just type in SAR. Before you do that, just type in SAR. Okay. So by default, if you type SAR 1 space 1, oops, that's going live. But what we want to do is to turn on the historical.
Okay.
So over on the right, boot.syststat on.
It's on?
Now, just because it's on doesn't mean it did anything. So now, go ahead and type in SAR again just to prove. Just SAR, no options. Still broken. So over on the right now, if you want, we're going to start it. Service boot.systat start. Type in SAR. We now have, so the start marked that Linux restart message.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you boot, which is essentially what the start marked, we're going to get a new Linux restart type of message.
Okay.
But we still need to have periodic data going in there. CD into itsy-cron.d
Mm-hmm.
/ at the beginning, your first /, there you go. ls-l. Now, when we did that check config boot systat on, it created the link there for that cron event.
Mm-hmm.
See the last one, systat?
Yeah.
Let's do a VI on that thing.
All right.
And you're going to do this on your own. Oops. Too many S's.
Yeah, and in the wrong place.
Yeah,
There
there you go. Now the second one, remove.
Okay.
The second one gives ASCII reports every 6 hours. I don't want that. And then the first one is every 10 minutes, which is acceptable right now. Go back and take a look at that.
Sure.
So cron is what's running it periodically. The */10 says run it every 10 minutes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
As root, and then SA1 is the script that's going to run that.
Okay.
Okay? And notice it has all, which means it's going to collect disk activity and interrupt activity as well. So
Okay.
the all is getting additional information. So now you can quit out of there. Type in SAR. Okay, type in date. So we've got another 4 minutes before we hit the 10-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to put a mark in there right now. So do a /user lib64
Mm-hmm.
SA /SA1 space -S space all, uppercase all, ALL. Now type in SAR.
Oh.
Oh, we didn't get what I wanted. Where was that cron event again? Cap the cron event again.
Okay.
Cat systat. You're right there.
Oh.
You're right there. Oops. No. There you go. So what did I miss? Oh, I guess the 1 So up arrow.
Mm-hmm.
/1 Oh, at the end.
Uh-huh.
Try that. Type in SAR. And it's still not. Run it one more time. Go ahead. And then type SAR. There we go. We needed a delta.
Oh, okay.
So the first attempt, the 1-1 seemed to be a problem. The script didn't know what to do about it, I'm guessing. And then the second time we got a record, but we didn't get a second record to compare to. So the third time we then got a delta, so now we can see the difference. I don't know if that makes sense. Now coming up at 40 minutes past the hour, it will pick up by cron automatically. Okay. We have other cleanup to do here. Any questions right now?
None.
What was on the agenda? The next, we should probably deal with that boot problem.
Yeah.
So let's grab the serial console. That
Uh,
I've turned off XVM, but we still have the NVMe problem, and I want to make sure that we can boot and figure out what's going on there.
mhm.
Again, NFS server doesn't have, it's the same code. It doesn't have same kernels and everything. It doesn't have problems. So I'm not sure why this one is.
Yep. Give me a second here. Oh, hold on.
So I finished step one where we were going to clean up services and packages. But let's take a look at basically grab the serial console and let's reboot.
All right. I'll run a net 6 in just one moment here.
And we should try, first of all, the default was to Pixie boot last week. We should try to see if we can boot off the MBR first. That was one of your comments that was appropriate and had not made my list. We're going to get back to strace and stuff like that, but
all right, let me do a net 6 and
but like I said, with strace, you got to kind of step back and take a big picture. You don't want to pick it apart and nitpick it. Especially when the process first starts, there's a whole lot of libraries it's looking for and all kinds of stuff being just setting up before the program even starts. Now, after we figure out if we can get at least a stable reboot, then we can deal with the missing file systems. And then we can go into the Mega RAID storage manager, build some LUNs. We'll see how far we get today. Now, the thing I don't like about this, I don't have a way of dumping this into an ASCII file.
Yep.
Now, I can convert the terminal to ASCII and lose the BMC interface. So basically, I can go into BIOS and say, put your output here, and then add a console equals to the kernel. And then I can use IPMI tool to capture this. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to break this web interface. So we're going to be ready with your delete key, I believe it was, to drop into BIOS.
Yep.
And we're going to try to boot off the first SuperMicro SSD.
Okay.
So how was the weather in rainforest land?
Well, so it was funny. It was actually clear and sunny for the first 2 days. Then it got overcast and rainy. And yesterday, when I flew back, it started snowing. And apparently I lucked out for when I flew, because like an hour or two after my plane took off, Seattle got thunder snows. So it was a better trip for me than for one of the folks I was visiting. So we did a hiking trip up one of the mountains, and at the peak it naturally was snowing, and he fell down the mountain part of the way. So
yeah, it's very dangerous.
He
did he hurt himself?
A couple sprains. So the joke is, since he works for Amazon, he should start insuring his risks, because that's his.
Did you do a delete key? Did you do a delete key?
I did, yeah. Okay. So it was.
Yeah, my dad, when he was out there in about 1960, climbed Mount Rainier, and the joke was they had to carry him back down because he was too sore. But anyway, so no, not this one. Go to the right.
That's right.
Actually, we could do the other one, but let's just make sure we can boot off of P2 there first.
Sure.
So we're going to the first SuperMicro. First one.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. Do we want the enterprise?
Yeah, the first one. The only difference is the kernel boot parameters.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of watching to see if we have NVMe errors like we did last time. There were some in there. Again, it's scrolling by too quickly. Some of this will show up in the bar log, but but it would be nice to, this is the part where it was hanging. This is the part where it was having problems last time as well.
Right.
I may at some point just have you change the password back and let me poke into this some more without wasting time on this. Why NFS server's fine is what's got me bothered. But this is definitely the same signature we had last week right after the 10 gigs. And it seems to be a UDEV rules. Notice at the very, very top of the window, we see NVMe visible.
Yeah.
Multi-Q, no, that's all the network stuff. Now, if I had my way, escape shift KDB would drop me into kernel debugger, and then I would be able to go in and basically breakpoint the operating system where it is right now and see what it's doing. But that feature does not seem to be working here, and is gone in SLES11 and RHEL 7. They've taken KDB away for some reason. But for me, it was a very handy tool. If I had a hung system, I could grab the serial console, hit escape KDB, and have the operating system stopped, breakpointed, drop directly into the key debugger and see what it was doing. Look at all your stack traces, look at your mem info, figure out if it was out of memory, all kinds of useful stuff when you needed to intervene. That would be useful right now. But I bet it doesn't work. Try an escape key.
Yep.
And then you're no longer holding the escape key down, but now hold the shift key down and type KDB. Uppercase KDB. Yep, enter. And that would have normally dropped it into a KDB debugger. We even saw it check conf. We saw it was on and check config and stuff. So I don't know why it's not working right. So I'm not sure how much we're going to resolve this. Once we've got booted, we'll at least know that we can boot from MBR. And again, this was the same kernel. So remember, from rescue mode, we loaded this kernel and then pushed it out to FCL server into TFTP boot directory. So we have the same kernel that was on the root that we're Pixie booting from. Okay, so we got past that. Notice the boot.udev. That's where it's failing. See that?
Okay. Yeah.
And when we upgraded kernel, that was also where it was failing. Now, the thing that's running now is the license manager for SGI.
Yep.
The LK thing. That's your license daemon thingy. Now, I'm not this week, but at some point we need to get back into UDEV.
Yep.
But UDEV is basically creating all the /sys entry points for all the devices and stuff. And there are also rules in place for UDEV. So again, that was all NVMe stuff at the top. And again, we're using an SGI NFS server, enhanced NFS, but it says it's not loaded right now. Okay, let's log in.
Okay. It's the BMC login.
Yeah, it's the secret one that you've been keeping from me. The same, I think it's the same that you used before. Oops, I'm seeing your password. I didn't get enough of it, so don't worry. But
keyboard. There we go.
I saw a great little YouTube thing of a robot pushing the keyboard to indicate the pot. Okay, NFS server. So first of all, do an ls. No, let's do a find. I'm sorry, let's do a find /user lib modules /modules. No, we got much more to go here. Break out of there. User lib /modules grep pipe grep xfs. Now we still have some problems with the find command. I need a dash print. I need a dash print after the modules. Print the path.
Okay.
So after module space dash print grep pin. Yeah, that's fine. Enter. Oh, lib modules. I think that's my mistake. Lib modules. Just lib modules. No user. No, just /lib /modules.
Oh. Okay.
No user. There we space /. There you go. Try that.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got one for the 63 kernel. We've got ones for the 94 kernel. I'm looking at updates. I'm looking at weak updates. So we're on a 63 kernel, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Do a uname -a. Enter. No, just that's good. No, we're on the 94 kernel now. Huh.
Okay.
So this was the update kernel. Last time we tried to use this, it just spun on that thing and then had a device queue problem. So since we're on the newer kernel, on the 94, I do see XFS kernel modules there, but not, oh, we weren't looking for NFS. I'm just wondering, so do an ls mod and, no, let's do a mod info NFS, space NFS, pipe into more. And that is not the SGI version, right? You can do one on XFS instead of NFS.
Okay.
And that one is the SGI version.
Okay.
So you see it says SGI XFS, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do an RPM QA and grep for KMP. I'm looking for the NFS kernel module from SGI.
Okay.
Grep KMP. Pipe. No, just pipe grep. No, back up. RPM QA pipe. Before, back up. RPM QA pipe. Back up. Back up.
RPM QA.
And then pipe it and grep for KMP. Get rid of the KMP. Get rid of the KMP.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead, hit enter. So that's a naming convention for kernel module. So I see XFS. I do see the NFS one in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do RPM QL on that NFS one. And then that, oh, you can't copy and paste. No pipe. Just type in SGI-enhanced NFS. Oops, typo. A couple typos. Back up. Still more. There. QL SGI dash enhanced. And it's still spelled wrong. Enhanced. Dash KMP dash default. Enter. Did it get spelled wrong? Maybe I think you need the whole thing.
All right.
It's not going to copy and paste. Bring up a putty or something.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things wrong with the serial console that are annoying. So.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So RPM QA grep for KMP. Pipe grep KMP. So we're looking for the SGI NFS that did not get loaded. Go ahead. RPM QL.
Mm-hmm.
It can be on the left. Use it on the left.
All right.
RPM QL on that thing. Enter. So it is installed in the 63 path.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an updates nfs.ko. But that didn't seem to be in the 93 tree or the 94 tree that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to do this again just to see. This might still be a bug with SGI. But over on the left, do a SGI-post-upgrade.
All right.
SGI-post-upgrade. And then options, -big A, little r. So this is going to link from that 63 kernel into our current kernel for any SGI kernel modules that are found.
Oh, okay.
I am seeing some complaints. Some of them I'm not worried about. Can't read lib modules, 94 week updates. So it looks like there might still be something wrong with this. You see all those warnings?
Yep, they do.
Well, let's see if it can fix it. It's complaining, but we're trying to link into the 94 kernel.
Okay.
And that's what was not linked before for the NFS one. So those make sense. On the right window, bring up top.
Yeah.
All that XVM. Quit out of there. On the top, quit out of top. And do a service boot.xvm stop. And hopefully that XVM, do a kill all 9 XVM underscore ID.
Right.
Kill all. Oops.
Oh, sorry, kill that. No.
I was going to do kill all.
Oh, sorry, kill all.
No, one word. Kill all, space 9.
Oh, sorry.
Space -9, and then XVM underscore ID. Instead of PIDs, I'm killing by name, ID. Right?
Okay.
Go ahead. Bring up top.
Uh-huh.
So at least those things are gone. So making it RD and gzips, all part of what's going on the left.
Uh-huh.
So right now we're just still in cleanup mode. On the right, by the way, quit out of top.
Uh-huh.
And do a DF. So we do have a /home. Oh, it is an MD. Wait a second. Oh, the name is MD0. That's right. Do a cat on /proc /MD stat /proc/mdstat. So this was our NVMe. Go ahead. So there it shows it's a RAID 5. See the second line there?
Yep.
So it's a RAID 5, and we see the devices that are part of the RAID. Okay, CD into /home. Make dir DAW. See, we got a functional file system. Do a chown DAW. No slash. Which is changing. You changed into the directory, so dot.
Oh.
Yeah, that works too. Chown DAW. ls-l.
Yep.
What was the hello text? It's empty anyways. You may as well remove it.
Oh, that's the MOTD. Wait, hold on.
But that's not where it would be. That's not where it would be.
It's gone. I'll delete it.
So cat/itsy or vi/itsy/motd.
Oh, okay.
Do a vi.
Yeah.
/etc/motd. Message of the day. Yep, there you go. Put a line feed above it and below it.
Okay.
It just makes it a little. I think you got one below, but it just makes it a little easier to see it. We'll fix it up later and make it fancier, but right now break out of there. So that stuff on the left there looks like it's finished.
All right.
I'm not sure. I'm not ready to reboot just to see if it fixed the NFS one yet. But let's do a rmmod NFS. rmmod.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. So that gets do an lsmod grep for NFS. Oops, one word. lsmod, one word. Grep NFS. Oh, NFSD. Sorry. So now do an rmmod NFSD. No, up. That was the lsmod. Do an rmmod.
Mm-hmm.
Up. There you are. NFSD. Enter. Oh, it's in use. So we would have to reboot to pick that up. I was just going to see. Again, let's try a mod info, NFSD, pipe into more. And I was not expecting the link on the left to load the new one. I just was double checking.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of regroup and move on at this point.
Sure.
Number one, we do your DF again.
Uh-huh.
And we need to look at our file systems. We were missing some file systems last time. Let's see. Where the heck? I lost my, there we are. Lost my cursor. There we are. I'm just going back to the specs that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So do a df-h, little h.
Mm-hmm.
Tom likes big H and powers of 2. Don't matter to me. So our root is 67 gig. That's fine. Don't care about dev. Boot was 1 gig. That's fine. And then we have home, journal, spool, and temp. Now, what are we missing?
Oh,
There were a couple missing still.
There was the ARC.
Live arc.
Live ARC, yeah.
And move FS. Hang on. My cursor keeps moving onto the second display. So let's see. I'm just going through that one sheet that we had.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, there is an SGI NVMe tar file. I'll worry about that later.
Uh-huh.
We've registered. Should I try it? Do a zipper update over on the left. We don't have to actually take the updates. Let's just see what it catches. None of them are the kernel, so let's take the update. I'm just going through our check. I'll share it again with you when we get to it. We got boot temp swap. Home is done. We got create archive. Okay, so we got home and temp. Do your DF again.
Mm-hmm.
DF-H.
All right.
Just friendlier numbers. Home, temp, journal, spool. The backup, that's the one we're missing right now. Where were we going to put backups? By the way, type in DM check. Okay, CD into ITSY DMF. Make it. Do a make dir DMF. CD into it. Then SFTP to trillion1. Be the secret password.
What is... Not sure why this is...
No, that's the way it goes. Got it?
Yeah.
CD into ITSY DMF. And mgetdmf.conf. So that's just a starting point. Quit out of there.
Oh, right, quit.
Type your DM check again. Okay, so it's complaining we don't have a DM journals. So we must have spelled it wrong or something.
Did we?
And let's see, how can we fix all this? What's the best way? So we're missing a backup. Move FS is going to be off on the RAID devices. Oh, before we move on, let's do a VI on dmf.conf here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go down the list here. I guess it's spelled journals there, so we better just change the name of the file system. Go down to MSP names and get rid of DSK2.
All right.
Go up about 4 lines, go up about 4 lines. Down to, yeah, there. Down one more. And DSK2 over on the right, get rid of that.
Okay.
Just get rid of DSK2. That's good. And then find the homes. Do a slash on home. That one, let's just change to home instead of home 1.
Okay.
Go up. I don't know what. Change the home to home 1.
Yeah.
We're going to also have an archive here. Actually, let's change that to archive right now.
Just the archive?
Archive first. Instead of home, we're going to use archive instead. We'll add home later, but in 2 phases.
Mm-hmm.
Let's page down. There's a DSK2 that I wanted to get rid of. Keep going. Keep going. There, get rid of those DSK2s.
Sure.
DSK2 will be the other NFS server when we get that far. So we will be adding it in later. And then a little bit further. Let's go up now, that store directory.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of this DSK2 one. Get rid of the whole piece that you're in. This whole define. DDs.
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah, from there, yep. You're in that, there you go, there you go, there you go. Good. Okay, good. Now go up 2 lines and fix that.
Yep.
There you go. And fix that MHVTL. Just make it DSK MSP1. Just, yeah, DSK MSP1. Get rid of the slash, the first slash, just DSK MSP1. Yeah,
okay.
Get rid of that. Get rid of that slash there. Okay, that's good. Break out of there. So we still have the problem of the journal file system not being right. Let's go into YAST.
Mm-hmm.
A horrible, a simple typo like that. Go into system.
Mm-hmm.
And then to partitioner. Cross our fingers. Blame someone else. So now we're going to tab there. By the way, over on the right in the black window, do an ls on /DMFs
All right.
/journal. Let's do this one. Do an ls-R on just /DMF. ls-R on /DMF. I don't think there's anything in there. That's what I'm just confirming. See, they're empty still?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure what that LRC is in there. Well, anyway, the journal one is okay. So I just want to find out what's in there. So let's go back to the left.
Yep.
And let's tab to the DMF journal. We can leave the volume group journal, but we need to change the volume itself, the logical. One more, there. So let's edit. Let's format.
Okay.
Mount it as DMF journals. Yep, that's good. That's good.
Hold on. There we go.
Actually, I think I want to get out of this. We can fix it here, but let's do a back. Let's tab to back. Let's delete it. We're changing the mount point, but not the logical volume. And I'd like the logical volume to be correct. So let's delete that logical volume and recreate it. You get my point?
Yep.
We were fixing the mount point, but we may as well get the whole thing fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So journal, DMF journals, DMF journals, DMF, D, still way off here. DMF journals with a, there we are, that's good. We missed the S last time. Tab to next. And we can make this one 200 gig. The spec was 100 gig, but I'm going 200 gig. Tab to next. It's not striped, so you can't change that anyways. Change it to an XFS.
All right.
And then mount as a /DMF/journals. Tab to finish. Okay, so we fixed that typo. My mistake. I was driving the whole thing. The other thing that we're still missing, though, that should be also on this logical volume is the DMF backup.
Okay.
So let's add DMF backup. Now, let's see. I had 800 gig. There's
Okay.
900, almost 1,000, but that leaves us 200 gig to grow. So let's just make it 800 gig.
800 gig. Aye.
The nice thing about an LVM is I can grow it if there's still space in that volume group.
All right.
And that'll be XFS.
Mm-hmm.
Mounted as DMF backup. Nope. DMF slash backup. And hopefully I spelled it right. And then tab to next and finish. By the way, it looks like my mock-up on Trillion I misspelled journals without the S as well, but then I mounted it with the S.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should take a little break here.
Okay. When do we
10
reconvene?
minutes?
10 minutes.
Let me know when you're back if you're around.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello.
Hey.
Recorder's still going, right?
Yep.
Any questions right now?
No.
We've just been cleaning up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while we're on it on the left screen, go into Power Management
Okay.
and change that from default to Performance.
Okay.
Tab up, yep. Down arrow or something. Low latency, there we are. Low latency. The governor will actually be called Performance, but this SLES calls that low latency computing. But anyway, go ahead. Quit out of there.
Okay.
And again, I just got that checklist and we're just cleaning things up. VI and ITSI hosts. And we got to clean up the host names. This is FCL Server 1, not FCL Server.
Mm-hmm.
And then delete the last 3. Go down to the end. Delete those last 3.
Yep.
We'll talk about 10 gig naming and stuff later, but there's no, we're not using any sort of name lookups on the 10 gig networks. That's just by IP and stuff. I don't have a naming convention for the 10 gig ports. I just have a subnet number, so we can visit that later. And change this from FCL Server to FCL Server 1 for now.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah.
And then also the alias.
Yep.
Now, during break, I went to grab a file, and it brought me right back to my own machine. I'm going LS, and it was empty. I'm going, oh no, what happened to my files? And then realized it was pointing to itself. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, if you can get out of there. Now, seeding to home DAW. We're kind of moving forward now. So during break, go ahead, LS.
Mm-hmm.
This will get stepped on when we're done, but I just grabbed these during break. So let's mount.
Okay.
That CDR tab. Oh, I'm sorry, back up. -O loop. Mount -O loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then mount it on /MNT, for example. Now, did we actually mount this all, by the way? Let's check. Do LS on user local.
All right.
We did already install it.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about that. The other one there, that TE8, there's a zip file.
Mm-hmm.
you copy it into temp and unzip it, untar it. The TE8 file.
Okay. TEA?
8, numeral.
Oh.
See it there? TE tab.
Ah.
There you go. TGZ. The tar one. There you go. Put that into temp.
All right.
And then untar it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right.
CD into it. And then untar it again.
All right. Seconds.
And then CD into disk. And I only want the CLI one. RPM-IVH.
Mm-hmm.
Mega CLI. IVH.
Okay.
V for verbose. H. Mega C tab. See it there? Uppercase C. No, you're right. Mega uppercase C and then hit a tab key. No, wrong one. I want the CLI, not the GUI. There you go. See it?
Yeah.
You get the difference. It looks like we need that libutils installed too.
All right.
So up arrow. No, these aren't in a repository. We could put them in a repository, but they're not. So RPM-IVH. Again, up arrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Mega CLI. That's fine. Libutils. Tab. Or even asterisk. Because there's 1 and 2. Go ahead. Hit enter. So one of them was already installed. Is that what we're seeing? Yep. Now try your Mega CLI. Yep. So we didn't get libutils 1 for some reason. And tab, up arrow, and then tab it. Dash. Tab. There we go. Now try the CLI again. There we go. Okay. Now, we're basically, let's go to a desktop now. So is VNC running?
I believe it is.
And again, there's a Zynet D to fire it up too. So we're gonna build the raids now.
Okay. What? Okay. I thought I had. Let's see. Oh, the.
So I see it on display 3. Do your PS-E. Yeah, that works too. Yep.
Uh,
54, not 7.
oh.
7 was the BMC. There's no VNC port open there. Right?
There you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be your secret one, not the company's.
Yep.
Now again, this is a funny desktop. I don't know if it's going to be a problem yet. In the cd to /root /.vnc. V Victor dot. No, you're missing. Back up to root /.vnc. Right? Enter.
Yep.
You okay with that now? Do an ls. Let's copy that X startup to a BAK.
All right.
That's what you want to call it. I'm just thinking aloud, but startup.bak is what I had in mind.
Oh, sorry.
Let's move BAK to X startup.bak. No, it's not. It's just no, not slash. No slash. We don't want it in root. Just X startup.bak. .bak. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just thinking too aloud. Now let's SFTP to trillion1. And yep, CD into .vnc. ls. Grab the X startup that's there. mget X startup. Quit out of there. Again, everything we're doing today is kind of clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Do a diff between the two. Diff X splat. Diff X splat. Asterisk, that's good. Yep. Oh, they're the same file. Oh, I thought that one worked. We might be missing some RPMs then. Well, anyway, let's see if we can get it. It's not a nice desktop. We'll push that off for a while, but let's go into user local mtab /uppercase M. User local uppercase M /user, yeah, tab. No space. Hit a tab. See, there's spaces in there, so it's easier to tab on that one. ls. And then ./startup UI .sh. Startup UI .sh. Correct. And you played with this a month ago or so, so don't be afraid to ask questions now. Are you okay right now?
Yep. All right. The password is going to be
whatever root was. Yours,
okay.
Not mine.
Okay.
So that's whatever root is on the system you're connecting to. Again, this is distributed. This could connect to different servers if they were up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's just go to physical. Let's go to physical.
Mm-hmm.
Let's click on controller there. The second line. Right click.
Yep.
And will it create virtual disk there? Up one, create virtual disk.
Okay.
Yep, that's a good one.
Nice.
Now, once we get FCL server in place, I'm going to have you play with NFS server and do this on your own.
Okay.
But go ahead and hit next. No, I'm sorry. Let's back up. Let's keep it simple. Yeah. So it's going to be RAID 0, and we're just going to do one drive, and then under capacity, I want all the way to scroll to the top, all the way to the top, and I want 27, the third one.
Mm-hmm.
I am selecting 3 drives.
Okay.
Oh, hold it. Is that what I want? 3 drives. Yes. So the whole purpose was because of boundary alignment, where there were 30 drives in there, I'm creating a 3 drive slot, and then we're going to recreate it later. But go ahead and hit next. So it says we're using 3 drives. Go ahead and finish. Okay, so that one is actually going to be that DMF move FS.
Okay.
Now we're going to start building the RAID 5s for the DSK MSP1. This is where DMF is going to keep its assets. So the database will keep track of the files that are in the file system that we're now building.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me so far?
Yeah.
So we're going to have 3 8+1 LUNs. So let's create a new virtual logical device.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it that way too. Go ahead, click on controller, create virtual, top one. There you go. Simple. This RAID 5.
Okay.
And then capacity. Now the hard part, keep going up, all the way to the top. So the hard part is knowing how many drives to get this 8+1. Notice we don't have the 9 gig or 9 terabyte option anymore because this is RAID 5.
Yep.
So we need 8 additional drives. You get my point? So no, not virtual. It's still 1 virtual. But in there for the capacity, we need the capacity of 8 drives.
Okay.
So pull down, scroll up. Now, I don't know if you can click on 8. I want a down arrow. Yeah, down arrow. See if we can get to the 8th one there. Think that's it?
I think so.
Is that right? I don't know. Okay, that looks right. So we're going to find out. Go ahead and click next. So that came out wrong. We wanted 8+1, not 8+2. So go back. And under capacity, just drop it up 1. Kind of hard to count them, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So that's an 8+1. You with me okay?
Not quite for...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so how do I tell that this is 8+1? I mean, I see the +1 part.
So I see RAID 5, and there are 9 drives to it. So one of those drives is the parity, and 8 of them are the data. So that's why I'm calling it an 8+1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We went RAID 6, then it'd be 8+2 or 10 drives.
Okay. Now I follow.
And I was again, I'm picking 8. Sometimes it might be 4 or 6, and I want you to test on NFS server when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced that 8+1 is the best. 4+1 might be better, but then we lose capacity, and Steve wants capacity, and I don't think we have a performance problem yet.
Okay.
So I'm choosing 8+1 over 4+1 because I have less parity drives and therefore more capacity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Steve said he wanted capacity. He didn't want RAID 6. He said RAID 5. So that's how I got to this decision.
Okay.
Now, the disadvantage is, and what I'm seeing over the past weekend when I played with this, LVM is giving me block sizes of 256 meg, not like 1 meg or 256K, not 1 meg or 2 meg. So what I'm trying to say is that LVM is breaking a big request up into smaller pieces, and I'm not sure an 8+1 is going to be the most efficient for that type of I/O. Now, I want to discuss that later when we get into profiling. So anyway, go ahead and finish. And then we do that 2 more times.
Okay.
RAID 5. And it was 72. Nine drives, yep. Now, Todd's still under the weather and stuff, but I want you to be able to get his perspective on things too, you know?
Sure. No, I would like to have some kind of sync up with him.
I want a different perspective, more than one person, 72.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as me, I like to come in double blind test and say, I know what I'm thinking, but I don't want you to know that.
Sure.
I want to pull off the top of your head what's coming into your mind, not what you are repeating from my mind, you know?
Sure.
Go ahead. Finish. And so we've got 3, 3, or 3, 8, 8. I think we have one more.
Okay. I thought we've done 3 so far.
3 of the 8 plus 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't catching it. Before, let's just check that we're on a boundary then. See if you can make that window wider.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that, but the pane, the particular, right by the slider. Go down.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the left. Go to the left. Go to the right. Go to the right. That window there, I want wider.
Okay.
There. That's what I had in mind. And I need to get all the way to the slots. So good. Scroll up to the top. And we start off with slot 0. And I can't really tell what port they're on here from these logicals, but we'll come back to it. But again, there were 30 drives on each port of this RAID controller. And I didn't want a virtual drive, a logical volume, to kind of cross over from one port to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that discussion? I might do where each of these are spread between the 2 ports round robin, or I might try to put them all on one port.
Mm-hmm.
Now, historically, round robbing them between the 2 ports would be better for latency, and then putting them on the same port was better for bandwidth. Now,
Okay.
that's not necessarily true with the latest SAS controllers and stuff, but that's the mindset behind it.
Okay.
So again, I was just trying to pick a controller boundary. So now let's create another 3 drive group.
Sure.
No, up one, right click in that one. There you go. RAID 5. Oh, I'm sorry. We were going to do this RAID 0. Never mind. This was the 3 drive one. We'll probably change that later, but go ahead. And then 27 terabyte.
Yep.
So again, because I had 30 drives here, when I did an 8 plus 1 3 times, whatever, I ended up with 3 extra drives on each controller, and that's why I'm doing a 3 drive group.
Okay.
That kind of puts me on a controller boundary. So I don't know what you're doing now. We were going to create 3 RAID 5s that were 8 plus 1, and then we were done.
Okay.
So you just finished the second 3 drive group. You're on the second controller.
Okay.
So go up to controller 0 again, or the second port I was on. Right click, create. Yep. RAID 5, 72. Two more times.
Okay.
Now on NFS server over the weekend, I built RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6, 4 wide and 8 wide, and then ran a whole sequence of FIO tests to stress them. And I'm going to have you do that on your own and tear apart those LUNs that I built there, but I basically mounted them 4-0, 4-1, 4-4, 4-5, I'm sorry, 4-6, that sort of thing.
Right.
So go to physical now. Let's widen that panel on the left again so we can see. Keep going, keep going. I think that's good enough now. Scroll down. Keep going. So there we can see again where it switches from one port to the next at slot 29. Scroll up a little bit. Okay, so that's why I was trying to avoid that boundary there.
Okay.
So that's why I could have done 8+1, 8+1, 8+1, and then 3, but I chose to do 3 and then 8+1 3 times. A little easier to spot them.
Right.
Okay, so we should be able to quit out of there now.
Okay.
So do an LS SCSI. We don't even need the GUI anymore, but that's okay. LS SCSI. So there's our SDE through SDL. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right?
Yep.
So now we got to figure out which are the small ones and the rest are the big ones. So I would expect do a parted on /dev SDE. Oops, you missed an E. Parted, E, parted. There you go. /dev /SDE. Type in P. And we can't tell how big it is because it doesn't have a table right now. But let's do a make table GPT. I'm sorry, it's M. Try that. Go ahead. Enter GPT. This MK instead of MAKE. MK table GPT. Yep. That's another habit of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Verbalizing more than this there. Now do your P.
Okay.
And that's the small one at 30 terabyte. That's correct. Quit out of there. Do an LS SCSI again. Notice the numbers on the left in the brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see 0 through 7. You see them?
Yeah, I do.
2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2.
Yep.
That 0 through 7 is the LUN that we were just in the MegaRAID Storage Manager on.
Ah.
Okay? So as you created them, the LUN numbers were created in that order. Now, Tom will take different ranges. So he might have the set of LUNs for one file system at a LUN number of 20 and another set of LUNs at 100 and another set at 200 and put the LUNs that are in a similar file system in the same range to separate them and make them easier to find. Does that make sense? This is rather simple. This is rather simplistic, so we just chose default LUN numbers.
Okay.
So SDE, FG and H is going to be good. SDI is the other one. So now let's go into YAST.
Okay.
And go to partitioning, up to system.
Okay. Ah.
Over to partitioning. So we have 3 file systems to make. So first of all, down to hard disks, up. Now hit a plus sign, hit a plus sign.
All right.
So now it's expanded out. There you go. So go ahead, hit there. So we're going to basically create a partition. So let's add a partition to the device. Oh, hold it. This was my mistake before. Go to expert. Go to expert. And I want to create a new partition table with a GPT.
Okay.
That's okay. I don't like the it detected the partition table already there. So tab to expert again and just see if it asks for a partition table choice. This is where we got burned, I think, at one point. Delete, I don't care about all that, but let's just go ahead and go ahead. So let's do an add. Full size is fine, tab to next. Now we want this to be an LVM. Nope. So tab to or do not format. Tab down. No. There you go. And change that to an LVM. We could have gone your way. Yeah, that's fine. But we're trying to use LVMs.
Okay.
Now add a logical volume to that volume group. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not there yet. My mistake. So let's go on to the next drive. SDF. We got 7, 8 drives to do.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. You didn't need to do that yet. Go ahead, partitioner. We could have waited until all drives, but that's fine. So now go to hard disks, hit a plus sign, go down to F, hit enter, tab to expert. Yep, that's fine. I don't know why it's not asking for a GPT, but how big are these? Well, I guess because it's over, it must be automatically saying a size that big has to be GPT. Go ahead. Next is LVM.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where'd you go? No, I know. Shift back up, back tab also works, but I often just do what you do. It's easier. Space bar. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tab down. There you go. Sometimes we avoid carpal tunnel.
Always.
So you got 4 or 5 more.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do next, but just keep going. Don't do next. Keep tabbing into the system view. There you go. Now do the others. G. Where are you? You want to go to G.
Oh.
There you go. Hit enter and repeat. And then add a partition. Full size. Make it LVM. Doing good. By the way, if you typed in YAST2 instead of YAST, you would have gotten the graphical. Go ahead.
All right. Oh. A bit alarmed that for some it's shift tab to go backwards, right?
Yes.
Okay. That is not working for me for some reason.
Okay. But like I say, the shift can cause carpal tunnel, so a lot of us just tab. Not unusual. So you need to change to LVM. There you go. Now, when we get to it, I'll have you do these labs by command line instead of YAST, because Red Hat doesn't have a GUI. So all this is doing is setting a bit in the partition table, and during boot, the kernel will look for an MD or an LVM type flag to say, oh, I need to load this kernel that type of partition.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom is one that would just script all this, particularly when he's got 1,000 of them. So we have now marked the drives, put a partition table there, and marked them as LVM. So now go to RAID over on the left, or I'm sorry, volume management over on the left.
Okay.
And plus sign when you're in down. Yeah, there you go. Hit enter. That's good enough. Tab to add.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Yeah. Okay. Volume group.
Yep.
So STE. Let's call this one archive. And then we want to select SDE. Tab down. 3. There you are. SDE spacebar tab. Add it to the right, and then finish. And let's continue with that one. Let's tab to add a logical volume on that volume group. Last time we did all the partitions, but this time we'll finish one at a time. Logical volume. And so this one will be archive. So we're going to have a home for interactive users, but we're going to have an archive for DOJ and genomic data, stuff like that. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. They'll both be under DMF, but this will be the one we put under DMF first. What's going on here? Why do we... You've got something going on wrong here. We're adding a logical volume on DMF home, and we can't, and it's too small. So you need to back out.
All right.
You added the logical volume to the wrong volume group. Just get to back. In fact, before we go on, let's just do a next.
Sure.
That way and all that looks good. Notice it does say GPT. All that's good. Go ahead. That way, if we screw up, we can at least roll back to this position.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do partitioner again.
Okay.
So I hope you're feeling this is constructive, but we're going to add a volume group. So you need to get to volume management.
Yep.
And then just hit enter.
Mm-hmm.
So we apparently did get an archive, and that's not the right one. So we need to delete that one.
Okay.
I thought when we did a back that it had regressed it all. But, well, hold it. No. I'm sorry. The volume group is correct. That's my mistake. It's the logical volume. So yes, we're going to add a logical volume to that.
Okay.
Sorry, a little scatterbrained here myself. Okay, so logical volume, and it's going to be the whole thing is /archive. So archive. No slash. No slash in there.
Okay.
That'll create problems. I don't even like dashes in there anymore. What Post will do is they do a VG underscore and an LV underscore in their naming convention. Go ahead. full size. It's already been striped by the RAID controllers, so you won't have any other stripe. Go back to stripes and see if it'll take anything else.
Okay. Cool.
See, no choice, because there's only one LUN to it.
Oh.
And then the RAID controller is doing the striping. We set up that 3 drive as a 0. Go ahead. So this has to be XFS.
All right.
All DMF has to be XFS. And then mount it as /archive. No, go back and mount it as /archive. That's good. Now we'll add the DMF options later once we got a license and stuff. Go ahead and finish. So, just giving you a chance to clear your head. How are we doing? We're going to create the rest of these volume groups and logical volumes still. Any questions?
So let me see if I understand the entire process that we've been doing. So we went through Mega RAID. We set up our the different volume groups for it.
So we start off with the Mega RAID controller software creating the LUNs.
Okay.
And then we created the LVM partitions on those LUNs. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and we have 2 different LUNs total?
This was one Mega RAID LUN that got turned into a volume group and one volume on the volume group.
Okay.
Versus the DMF, we put multiple logical volumes on the DMF volume groups.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to understand the hierarchy because we have both the volume groups and the volumes.
And repetition is good. I got no complaints. So this one was 1 disk, actually 3 disks put together on controller. So we had 1 LUN marked as LVM and put 1 file system on it.
Okay.
Now we can do the DMF. Okay.
All right.
So tab, let's see, what was I looking for? So tab to add. No, we want to be on, hang on first. We need to create the volume group. Tab to add still.
All right.
Volume group. And this volume is going to be DSK MSP1. So this is where all our assets are.
All right.
So FGH.
Okay, FGH.
You missed F.
Oh, there it was.
Okay. No, we had 3 more as well. J, K, and L. So J, K, and L. So this is our 6 LUNs that are in 8+1 RAID 5. Okay, tab to finish. Now we're going to create the logical volume on that thing. Now the last one was 1 volume on 1 drive. This time we've got 1 volume on 6 LUNs.
Okay.
And behind those 6 LUNs was 9 drives per LUN. So we're going to add logical volume. And this will be DSK MSP1. Tab to next. XFS. Mounted as /DSK MSP1.
Okay.
Oop, yeah. You didn't get the mount point?
Oh.
/DSK. No, it won't be there. He's just typing in /DSK MSP1. I chose that naming convention. We were using MHVTL when we thought we'd use tape. Go ahead, finish. And now we're going to, that was the logical volume on it, was it? And it's 436. Let's just go to next.
All right.
Go ahead. Now, I was going to have you repeat this whole thing on your own on NFS-server, and then we could do some things again together.
Okay.
But the repetition within your time frame and your desire. Again, if I'm suggesting a task you're not interested in, just speak up.
Sure.
But right now, the point was, since we got new boxes coming in, to have you kind of involved from the beginning, particularly since you're studying storage and stuff. This was all, I think, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to take a while for that make FS to finish.
Yep.
The bigger it is, the more it takes. Hang on here now. So I'm going to send you an email.
Okay.
Which you've seen before, but let's just review it. It was an edit type of thing. There. Yep. That's it.
All right. Let me log in.
Yeah, darn it, I can't use my old password anymore. The DNC was using it. You know, I think I told you I got hacked by China. I had guest on a system, and we'd taken the VPN down for a class. They dropped in a program as guest that just pounded the name server. All it did was host name lookups, but it made the whole subnet and the DNS server unusable.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting.
And yeah, I know. And manufacturers still ship things with passwords root or admin.
Yep.
SGI actually went and looked at all the account names and passwords that they were trying and stuff. So this is where we are.
Yep.
Okay. So over on the upper left was our root disk.
Mm-hmm.
The DOM, disk on module. It's a really small thing that fits on the module. It's not like a SATA plug-in or bay type of thing. So we had about 80 gig for root. We had about 40 gig for temp and about 8 gig for swap. Those were rough numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The second drive is unused. It currently has CentOS on it. Depending upon Tom and Steve, we might reinstall this server and use the second root to do his suggested file system. But I don't know that that's going to happen. Then we had two SSDs, 1.6 terabytes. So we had DMF home, DMF temp, journals, which is, I fixed that now.
Mm-hmm.
Backup, which we added, and DMF spool.
Yep.
Oh, we forgot one though. Home was RAID 5 on the NVMEs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the DMF move FS that we haven't done yet. And that's going to be on SDI. So then we created /archive, and that's going to be a DMF file system, and home is a DMF file system. And then we created our 6 8+1 LUNs, and we've now put them together. Is this making sense?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we haven't done was that DMF move FS, which, by the way, I guess I better flip these around because we put archive on those first LUNs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. Double vision here between what's up on the screen and what's on my laptop.
Yep.
Now that DMF move FS is for moving things from one MSP to another. Oh, you know what? When we built that archive, though, it was RAID 0.
Yeah.
we're going to have to probably redo that, but for now, I don't care. I do want that one to be a rate 5 for reliability.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I put Lund numbers there, 012, 012. The
Yep.
thinking being that the beginning of each controller, put your smaller things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the older days, when things were daisy chained on the same SCSI interface, then the lower numbers on that daisy chain would have higher priority. And that's another reason you'd put more interactive type file systems at the lower Lund numbers. But
Right.
now with SAS switches and stuff, there's no daisy chain anymore, but you might still have that habit.
Right.
And then I can see, so at 29, then I rolled over to the second controller. And again, I had 30, 31, and 32 that we have to put our MoveFS into. So any questions on what I wanted Tom to have his own way of describing it, but this is just the way I'm used to.
Sure.
And again, I only had 100 drives here, not 1,000 drives.
Right. No questions so far.
And that's why I want Tom to get involved, because he's the one dealing with the big systems. So I sent you another email, another invitation to the other spec sheet.
Yep.
So we're still calling it FCL Server 1. We'll see if the host name change fixes things on certificates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
BMC, was it at 8 or 7? You kept going to 7. I'm not sure. Where was your browser to?
I was going to 7.
Left, upper left on your browser, your first tab. Yeah, it's 7. Let me fix that then. And for now, we're putting it at .54.
Mm-hmm.
And DNS, gateway, that's all consistent within our network. I've already added it to DNS. We do have to copy over DNS still. And I know we're wrapping up here. It's about 5 o'clock, so I'm looking for a good break here. So we've installed SLES11 SP4. We've got KVM, file servers, GNOME. Still not sure about that GNOME desktop, why that's not working. We've done our update. We've added the SDK. We've added Zipper. We haven't gotten Oracle yet. Why don't you grab a terminal?
Yeah.
So FCL Server 1. See, I put things into /opt. I'm not sure what there you are. .54. What? I don't know where 1 is. I don't know what you're going to.
Sorry.
1 is the gateway. I don't know what it let you do. So CD into /opt.
Right.
Now, I also traditionally in the past had a /SW directory, because one of the problems here is that /opt has OS integrated stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember much about Sun, Solaris and stuff, Sun OS.
I've used Solaris.
So it was for optional products, and they would often NFS export that /opt to all the workstations there.
Right.
But then if you've got different OSs, what's in /opt isn't always the same. So I started using /SW instead of /opt for my personal products. But that's just personal preference. Okay? So I might create a /SW and then build things in there, and /opt would be for builds and eventually the user local, but we don't have any standard within our lab for that. So anyway, SFTP
All right.
as yourself to deep 1.
Oops.
There you go. CD into /opt. LS. Do an LS splat 101 splat. because I know that's the latest.
Yep.
So get that thing. No, that's an 8 and asterisk. Just sticking. Now, actually, you're going to end up picking up more than one. Go ahead. Yeah. Asterisk will work there now.
Okay.
Quit out of there. Now, we're going to get into this a lot later, but Linux or SLES and Red Hat handle Java differently.
Mm-hmm.
And what you pick up in your default path and stuff is really a mess. I don't like the way Java is doing things. So let's do an RPM-IVH on that RPM.
Okay.
JDK tab. Enter. It's going to complain that there's no alternatives command. And that's a Red Hat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Type in jar.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's in your path. Type in which jar.
Give me a second. Write something down here.
Do an RPM QF on user bin jar. Do an ls-l on user bin jar. Now do an RPM QF on that user Java default bin jar.
Mm-hmm.
So Red Hat and SLES handle this all differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other thing, SFTP to FCL-server is root. SFTP root at F10.1.10.15. That's good. Secret password.
If I can. Okay.
CD to / uppercase I and then install. STAL. Yep. LS splat NVMe splat. Grab that second one. The second one, SGI-NVMe. I don't want the rel one.
Mm-hmm.
Quit out of there. Let's untar that thing. And there is a SLES one in there. So let's CD into that. And I'm hoping this might help with our NVMe problems. See, though it's SLES12, not SLES11, so that don't help us at all.
Oh dear.
Okay. I'll check on that later. Our NVMe seems to be working. I mean, we've got a functional home directory and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So going to the specification behind you again.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got Oracle JDK. We've already done the foundation and ISSP. We've installed DMF and NAS. We still have to check on that NFS kernel module, enhanced NFS from SGI. We just grabbed NVMe, but it's not for SLES11. I'll have to check on that. We've grabbed the MegaRAID storage manager. We've also grabbed the CLI. I'm going to leave SuperDoctor alone right now. That's for SNMP for hardware events.
Mm-hmm.
We've registered. I'm not worried about debug info. Crash isn't working right now. KDump's not working, so I'm not worried about that. We've done the zipper update. We've got a root password. Keep scrolling down.
Yep.
So we now have the home, journals, home, archive. I spelled journals right that time. MSP disk 1. We're doing DMF move FS next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the LiveArc. We need the LiveArc too.
Yeah, we do.
So we've done archive, we've done DSK MSP1, and we're just waiting to get DMF in place. Okay, so now down on the bottom, LUNs, yes. Registered and updated, rebooted, yes. ITSI, MOTD, and host we've fixed. Turbo mode we've fixed. Our second gig worked last time. I don't know about the third gig until Tom gets back to me. We picked up a DMF.conf, and we're going to get a license. NTP, next time when we come back, we'll clean up on NTP, NFS, NIS, and then get you into instrumentation.
Okay.
Let's see. Notice down on the bottom, I turned off sound, things of that sort. So you see what I'm doing? It's just my checklist.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see what happened to those make FSs and stuff.
Yep.
Where's your YAST in the GUI in the desktop? VNC.
Oh, yeah.
So is that the right one? There were two VNCs there. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Quit out of there. Let's quit out of there and do a DF-H. DF-H. So we do have DSK MSP1. We have archive. I'm just looking at everything else there. Notice how I put 2 dashes in some places? Because I had a SLES dash or something, and I don't like it with double dashes. The one we did not, let's unmount MNT, umount/MNT. And then go back into YAST. And we need to create that one last, or actually the last 2 DMF ones, LiveArc and MoveFS. So go to partitioner.
Yep.
Now I just happen to remember SDI was our drive that was the other small drive. So go down into volume management. Now I think we already marked it as LVM, so now we want to create a volume group, tab to add.
Yep.
Volume group, SDI. Is SDI in the list? Yes.
So the name?
The name, this was going to be move underscore DMF move underscore FS. That's just personal choice. SDI. Tab to finish. And then add a logical volume to it.
All right.
DMF move FS. Yep, looks good. And it's only going to be one LUN, so next. And then mounted to /DMF /move underscore FS. No, go back.
Yeah.
/move underscore FS. Yeah, there you go. Tab to finish. And tab to next. And finish. Now, something to point out here, when we created that MSP DSK1, I don't remember seeing, maybe we skipped it and I didn't want it anyways, but I don't remember seeing us have the option of changing the stripe width, because there are 6 LUNs that we could have striped across. But I don't want to stripe across them. I want to keep them independent.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that later. They're striped within them with a RAID 5, and I just didn't want to stripe on top of stripes. I'd rather have 6 independent LUNs acting in that file system than putting them all together into one big one.
Right.
So when this is done, let's see what else was there. Just basically see if it survives reboot. While we're waiting, I know we're almost done for the day. Bear with me. Call me Simon Legree if you want. Grab another window behind.
Sure.
CD into bar YP. Yep, enter. SFTP. to 10.1.10.15.
Oh, hold on. Yep.
CD into var YP. mget password. Yep, good, enter. mget shadow. Oh, we had 2 more to get. CD into var YP. And then mget shadow. And mget group. So that's our NIS files. Quit out of there.
All right.
See if you can do a make. Okay, we're not set up yet. Type in YAST. Go to network services.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep.
NIS server. Up one. There you go. Install and set up as a master. Yep. And the domain is FCL, that's fine. Also a client, select that one. And we don't have a slave, so deselect that. And let's select that one for fast distribution. And then allow changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest I don't care about. And then we're only going to be exporting the group, password, and shadow.
All right.
And finish.
Okay.
Now, while we're there, the other one I want, where is it? I'm looking for the name server. Why am I not? I'm looking for, second from the top. There it is. Sorry. DNS server. Hit that. Install, yes. So this is your host name lookup, IP address and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tab to next. I don't really care about that. Tab to next. And yeah, just tab to next. And let's quit out of there. CD into var lib name D master. CD into master. Now let's SFTP to 10.1.10.15 again. And then CD to var lib name D master again. Oop. No. Var libs, one more, back one more. No D, there you go. Name D, not name D master. Oop. LS. Get that, just do an mget. CD dot dot. Oh, wow. CD dot dot, let's go up a directory. No, break out of there.
Okay.
Go up a directory. So we need to now do your SFTP. We need to get the reverse DNS.
Ah. Okay.
CD into var lib named. That's no master, just named. ls. So that 10.1.10 mget 10.1.10 asterisk. You got, I don't know what happened there.
Me neither.
mget 10.1 asterisk, just try an asterisk now. I'll pick that one up. Quit out of there. Let's do a check config named on. That's okay. Let's try a service named start. It started. Okay. Our thing in the back is finished as well. Do a df-h. We're just ready for a reboot and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So we did get the movefs added.
Mm-hmm.
It's still interesting the way home works and everything, but NVMe still complains. Do a grep NVMe on varlog messages. No,
Mm-hmm.
grep NVMe /var/log varlog messages. There you go. So that's all. Do a pipe into more. So they're all saying the same thing. Quit out of there. Do an ls, see if one of those paths actually exists.
Okay.
/devices. I don't know how to best do it.
Hold on.
Yeah, better off to copy paste, yeah. It still gave you a line wrap. Maybe pull your window super wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too much typing for those paths.
Mm-hmm.
ls, oh no, we were grepping.
Hold on.
Go scroll up to the grep.
Yeah.
There you are. So now you can grab one of those paths. Do they exist is all I'm wondering. Okay, back up and see where they don't exist. No. So go back to the ls that you had.
Uh-huh.
Start taking off directories.
Okay.
So where was that ls?
This one?
Yeah, just take off, go all the way. No, go up arrow. So take off like 3-4 directories. No, go back to your ls. It's backspace. No, go back to the ls. I want to see where the tree breaks.
Okay.
So with your ls.
Okay, ls.
No, up arrow to the ls that you had at the top. Yeah. Now backspace to get rid of the NVMe stuff.
Okay.
Does that PCI directory exist? Does that directory exist? Go ahead. And then back up one more. And again. So, oh, well, wait a second. Oh, there's a typo here. Up arrow, there shouldn't, why is it going to /devices? Up arrow to that full ls, up arrow to the full ls with the NVMe path. It's at the top there. /sys, no, go to the beginning, /sys/, see if that exists.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, I've got an idea now. Why is that /sys missing from the path? Right?
Yep.
It's complaining, but then do your grep again.
Okay.
You just there. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Work
I'm putting
failed
this.
handling slash devices. We just proved that it's there. It's just missing the slash sys for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well,
Yep.
anyway, we pretty much got everything cleaned up. I just wanted to look at that. Also, before we do, one other thing, there's a boot thing here too. Do the grep again.
Okay.
Do the grep. But instead of messages, do an asterisk boot asterisk. No slash, just boot. There's a like boot.msg file there, but go ahead. And I'm just seeing if there was anything different there. Operational and raids. See, their boot message is showing me, oh, that's the old ones. Up arrow again.
Mm-hmm.
And type it into less or more. I don't want the old one, I want the new one. There we go with the new one. You see what I'm seeing? We had boot.o message before.
Uh-huh.
Page down. Page down. Page down. Page down. Okay, okay, stop right there. So it's interesting now. So we see them being bound together. It found them. Again, before we said it was a UDEV rule problem. But here now we see this boot message having the /sys in the path.
Mm.
And then right afterwards is where it starts failing with them. So I don't know what's going on yet, but I'll have to dig into that. But you see what I'm seeing? Why is /sys missing on that last line?
Yeah.
Well, anyway. But when we're all booted and it's there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the proper sys interfaces for it and the UDEV stuff. So anyway, let's reboot.
Yeah.
Now, this time we were going to reboot off of MBR and change it. So let's grab the serial console. Once we're booted, we're done here. So bear with me, John.
Sure. Ran the init 6.
So While we're waiting, just move your window to the side.
Sure.
So you can still hit delete, but so underneath it is, so we registered, we've done a quick MOTD and cleaned up hosts, we've done turbo mode, DMF, we still got to get a license. I want to check the network time protocol, but I think have set up NFS server. We'll double check that next time. We've set up an NIS client and an NIS server now. We've set up the DNS server. We haven't set up HTTP yet, and the rest is instrumentation and stuff. So we're real close, except for that NVMe problem. Everything else looks pretty clean right now. So we're going to drop into BIOS and then change the default boot order to come off a disk instead of network.
Okay.
Remember, if I took an update and got a new kernel, and if /boot wasn't mounted, or if I didn't move the new kernel off to the TFTP server, I'd be screwed. Whatever the modern term for that is.
Yep.
Tom's been sick, but he's got to check up into the backup. And I sent you a little note over the weekend about the cache configuration on this Mega RAID controller.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I've got a script I'm going to email you that was the stress test I've been running on NFS server. What I'm trying to get Tom to do is do a heat map. Do you know
Yep.
anything about heat maps?
A little bit, yep.
He does them in Excel.
Huh.
I just would like a easy. I can do a very, very rough heat map in GNU plot, but it's useless.
Yep.
So basically, I do have an output file now of showing all the different types of I/O and all the different types of RAID configurations.
Okay.
Okay. So go to boot.
Mm-hmm.
Down arrow to the first legacy boot order, hit enter. And go up to the, I'm not seeing it, but yeah, that's the one. Hit that one. And then let's double check, go down to hard disk drive BBS priorities, second from the bottom, and make sure that that's the first one, not the second one. I don't like the way that works. See, that's the first one.
All right.
Normally, go ahead and hit escape. Now on this one, we want to save, so F4.
Mm-hmm.
But normally I would see that fixed boot order being able to select the disks, but I actually have to go to that second option anyway. Let's do a power control. Go to power control, reset again.
Yeah.
I just want to, why wait for it to boot? Let's just make sure it will disk boot now and not pixie boot. And once it's booted, we're done.
Okay.
I appreciate your patience with me. And
No, this is.
I work people hard, so.
No, this is good. This is a good way to get back after the long flight yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, the flight coming back wasn't too hard. The trouble was on going out. I had a layover in Detroit, and because it was such a short flight, it was a rapid ascent to descent. It played havoc with my ears.
Oh.
But
at least that's the only thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
I see. What was it in Connecticut? Some plane went through the roof of a apartment complex.
Yeah, that was. I'm just happy that I got out of Seattle before the thunder snows came.
How long was the flight for you?
Oh, yesterday it was about 4.5 hours, so pretty good time.
Without the layover?
Oh, I didn't have a layover for coming back. I only had
right,
going out.
Right.
Yeah, it was going out. It was a 1 hour. It was a 1 hour flight.
Yeah.
To Detroit, and it was about 5 hours thereabouts from Detroit to Seattle.
That was one thing nice when I traveled, being in the middle of the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty easy for us to get to the D.C. area, but like Los Angeles is still a long haul for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, this is...
The worst flight I had is from here to Kuala Lumpur, 32 hours door to door.
Oh, my. Yeesh.
You get into Singapore at 11 o'clock and then have to wait for 4 or 5 a.m. check-in and stuff, too.
Oh, man. Well, for me, this is my first flight in 14 years. So I used to fly up to Hopkins about once a year, but then things changed, and that kind of tapered off.
Well, let's hope this one boots. We had that one time where it timed out.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
And that's why we rolled back to an older kernel.
Yep.
But we didn't do anything that would have affected NVMe.
No. know it's hung once or twice, but it will eventually go through.
Yeah.
I know that happened last Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm going to start by looking at NFS server that is good as far as I can tell. I'll double check, and then in the UDEV rules that is NVMe related, and why it happened or why we lost it unknown to me.
Sure.
First time I've seen it. But we only started installing in the past week on these NVMe boxes, so. But the next step will be to get a license and get /archive in place.
Yep.
Then I was going to swap out FCL server. After this is stable, then swap out FCL server and copy the home for users to this system. But I was going to run a couple of weeks at least before I put home under DMF.
Okay.
Just have archive under DMF to stress it and work with it a little bit. I was not going to start moving assets off the SAN to /archive until we're all happy. And again, I did want Tom to be involved a little bit more, and whether we use this route or have a new route built don't matter to me, but he's probably going to say, this one works.
Yep.
So once this snaps out of this,
there we go.
okay, we should turn off the boot open iSCSI and the boot EFI bars once we get booted.
Okay.
So there's that UDEV admin settle. That's still the main problem. I'm kind of going through NFS server to see anything, but so far I haven't found anything. Trouble is, this is not an SGI box. I don't have somebody to go to for help. So I still did not find the SGI enhanced NFS. I'm just writing down a couple of notes here now. So we have that UDEV problem, open SCSI. NFS server. And log in.
Yep.
Do a DM check. No license, that's expected. Oh, do a makedir on /DSK MSP1. Oops, /DSK.
All right.
So I'm kind of /DSK1. So I'm creating a subdirectory. No, DSK-MSP1 / DSK1. See about halfway up when it says an error?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
So this is just my own convention. I decided to have DMF as a subdirectory. This still allows me to use disk space on that file system if I need to steal it, but it won't be under the DMF tree, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
One last thing. Behind you, the text, let's fix up the /archive mount points. So there was an example there there we are, right there. 2 lines, the second line there. Defaults, DMI, yeah, no, the one above it. That line. So we want defaults, DMI, inode 64, and mount point. I don't know if you can control C out of there, but let's put that into FS tab.
Sure.
And then control C.
Yeah.
VI, it's CFS, VI, it's CFS tab, VI, no, back up, VI, it's CFS tab, find the archive, there it is on the bottom, and then after defaults, append after the defaults.
Okay. Right.
I don't know where you are. Are you on the archive one? This
No.
window might be bad for you. Get out of this window.
Sure.
Use a putty one.
Okay.
So go down to there you are, after the S. No, after defaults. After defaults. I don't know where you are. Go up one more. Nope, down one. There, to the right.
Yeah.
There, comma. So yeah, there you go. Control X, defaults, DMI, inode, that all looks good.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I changed colors on me, but go ahead, quit out of there. Mount /archive. And then mount /archive. Do a df-h. And wait a second though. What the heck? Oh, that's right. Archive I was thinking it was bigger. Yeah, we got 437 terabyte for DSK MSP1. I thought we'd lost a whole 400 terabyte or something.
Sure.
Do your DM check. What's the one error that is complaining about the license? No, store directory mount point must be mounted. DSK MSP1. Well, let's fix it next time.
Okay.
So I appreciate your patience. In the middle black window, do an init 6. Just reboot it. And we'll see it when you got time again. I don't know what your schedule's like tomorrow.
Yep.
But just tell me tomorrow.
Sure.
So thanks a lot.
Yep.
Again,
Very good.
Appreciate you putting up with me.
Not a problem, Dave.
And, you got to have some more stories. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Signing off.
Ciao.
Have a good one.
Bye.